Hey everyone! So today, we're jumping into this incredible story from thousands of years ago. It starts with a heartbreaking loss, but it quickly turns into a total masterclass in diplomacy, in law, and really the fundamental importance of ownership.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? This is the massive question Abraham was facing. Here he is, a foreigner in a foreign land, and a personal tragedy forces his hand. He has to find a permanent answer, one that's going to echo for generations to come. Every great negotiation has a catalyst, that one thing that means it has to happen. And for Abraham Kaline, the catalyst for this really high-stakes deal wasn't about profit or power. Nope. It was about a deeply personal loss.
So the whole story kicks off when Sarah, Abraham's wife, dies. She was 127 years old. She passes away in a place called Kiriath Arba, right in the land of Canaan, which is where they were living at the time.
So after that initial period of mourning, Abraham hits this wall. He's got a huge problem, both on a practical and, a deeply emotional level. See, as a foreigner in Canaan, he didn't actually own any land, not a single plot, which meant he had no way to give the woman he'd spent his whole life with a permanent, dignified resting place.
To solve this, Abraham had to go and approach the local rulers, the Hittites. And this was, it was a really delicate situation. It required a ton of social and cultural awareness.
Abraham's opening line here is just fascinating. He doesn't come in making demands, not at all. Instead, he goes to the Hittite elders with total humility, and right away he acknowledges his status as an outsider. This is a brilliant strategic move to show respect and deference.
And this is where you really see the social dynamics at play. While Abraham is presenting himself as this humble foreigner, the Hittites see him completely differently. To them, he's an honored prince. They recognize his stature, his influence. This mutual respect is what really sets the stage for a civilized negotiation.
Now this is crucial. Abraham isn't asking for a favor, he's not looking for a handout, he is crystal clear, he wants to buy the land. He's trying to start a commercial transaction to secure a permanent possession, not just get some kind of temporary permission.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the story, the negotiation itself. And what unfolds is this beautiful, intricate dance of courtesy, custom, and just really sharp business sense.
So Ephron the Hittite, he's the guy who owns the land Abraham wants, makes this grand public gesture. He offers the field and the cave as a gift. Now, in this culture, an offer like that is a customary part of the bargaining process. It's a sign of goodwill, not a literal giveaway. Let's break this down, because it's amazing. First, you get Ephron's big, generous public offer. Then, Abraham's equally public and polite refusal. See, Abraham gets it. He knows that accepting a gift would put him in Ephron's debt and could make his ownership kind of shaky later on. So then, Ephron names his price, but he does it in this really casual way. And finally, Abraham immediately agrees. He doesn't haggle. That shows respect for an honored peer. Abraham's insistence right here is the whole key. By paying the full price, he makes sure the transaction is clean, it's legal, it's absolute. There are going to be no strings attached, no obligations, and no one can come back later and make a claim on the property. It will be his, permanently.
All right, so with the principle of a sale established, the negotiation moves into its final phase, setting the price and making the deal official. And there it is, the price. Ephron states the land is worth 400 pieces of silver, but listen to how he says it. What is that between friends? That is a classic negotiation tactic, right? You name your price, but you do it while keeping this friendly, non-confrontational tone. So, 400 shekels of silver, what are we actually talking about here? I mean, is that a lot? Oh yeah, it's a ton. We're talking about roughly 10 pounds, or 4.6 kilograms of silver. This was a major, major purchase. It really underscores the value of the land and just how serious this transaction was. And here's another critical detail. The text notes that Abraham paid the silver weighed according to the market standard. This tells us it wasn't just some friendly exchange of coins. That phrasing confirms this was an official, legally binding business contract recognized by all the merchants and elders who were there watching. The deal was also incredibly specific, which was vital for ancient property law. It included not just the field and the cave, but even all the trees within its borders. That level of detail left zero ambiguity. It prevented any future arguments about what exactly was sold. So, with the deal done, you can see the impact of this transaction went way beyond just getting a burial plot. This was about establishing a physical, permanent foothold in the land. And you have to understand where this deal happened was everything. Finalizing it at the city gate in front of all these witnesses, that was the ancient equivalent of signing and notarizing a deed in front of a judge. It was a public record, verbally certified by the entire community leadership. The ownership was absolutely indisputable.
And with that, the story comes full circle. Abraham's initial problem is solved. He buries Sarah in the cave of Machpelah. And this wasn't just any burial. This was an act of planting a flag, of securing the very first piece of property his family would rightfully own in the land that had been promised to them.
So this ancient story leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. What's the real difference between a gift and a purchase? Well, one creates obligation and the other creates ownership. And for Abraham, to secure a legacy for his future, he needed the unshakable permanence that only true ownership could provide.